Just last week, President Biden announced that he wants a federal vaccine mandate. So he wants all federal workers and contractors to have a vaccine mandate. And he also wants to have that for any businesses with more than 100 employees. And I believe if they weren't vaccinated, he wanted weekly COVID tests given. And I think this mandate would affect around 80 million Americans. So the issue we're going to be talking about today is, can the federal government have a vaccine mandate? I did a video quite a while ago about whether states can do that. And states really do have the police power and authority to require vaccines through schools or employers, things like that. We've seen that. But this video is not about that. This is about whether the federal government can have a vaccine mandate. So I think some people might get confused and think this is just about vaccine mandates generally. It's not. This is specifically, can the federal government have one? Okay, let's talk about it. In the past, states have had this authority, the purview to take care of the health and welfare of their citizens. And that's why when you saw the pandemic hit, different states were doing different things, and even sometimes different cities were doing different things. And that's because the health and safety really was down more at the local and state level. This was not really a federal issue. But with President Biden now saying he wants a federal vaccine mandate, he's trying to have the federal government step in and take over in some part of this. The question is, can he do that? Now, in the past, they have not done that. So they're definitely trying to do something that they haven't done before, which I think if this gets to the Supreme Court, which it could, I think they're going to be wary to all of a sudden let the federal government step in on health and welfare for the citizens of states when it's never done that before. So how is President Biden going to accomplish this? Well, he's going to try to do it through OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Oh, I got it. So he's going to try to do it through OSHA, through their Emergency Temporary Standard, ETS. I believe with that, it doesn't have to go through any kind of a review, and they can just do it. However, here's the problem. The last time they tried to use this ETS procedure was about 40 years ago, and a court said that was unconstitutional and they couldn't do it. So they haven't done it since, but apparently they're going to try to do it again. They're going to try to use that same mechanism this time with this federal vaccine mandate. Now, the ETS under OSHA, it requires that employees are exposed to grave danger from exposure to substances or agents determined to be toxic or physically harmful or from new hazards, and that such emergency standard is necessary to protect employees from such danger. So OSHA does have the authority to set health and safety standards in the workplace, but I really think them trying to do a federal vaccine mandate through OSHA is definitely really pushing it. Can they get away with it? We'll see. I mean, to me, it seems like they're overreaching and it is unconstitutional. But the federal government is a bloated behemoth, uncontrollable force that seems to be able to do almost anything. So, that made it sound like I had a bad attitude. I don't think they'll be able to do it. They shouldn't be able to do it. But it's definitely not I think there still is a chance they could get away with it. I think it's a smaller chance, but I think it's there. So the White House Chief of Staff, he actually retweeted something that made it look like the White House was kind of admitting that, yeah, we're trying to work around a constitutional issue. Like, we know this is probably unconstitutional, but this OSHA thing is kind of a nice workaround. Okay, so here's what happened. There was a tweet from an MSNBC reporter, Stephanie Rule, and her tweet was, OSHA doing this vax mandate as an emergency workplace safety rule is the ultimate workaround for the federal government to require vaccinations. So then the White House Chief of Staff, Ronald Klain, he retweeted that. And by retweeting that, he's basically, saying something out loud that he probably didn't mean to say out loud. He's like, yeah, we thought there was a constitutional issue, but then we thought of this OSHA ETS thing, and we're like, yeah, screw that Constitution. We're going to be able to get right by that. So he basically kind of admitted that they know they're basically doing something unconstitutional or trying to do something unconstitutional. Now, this whole thing kind of reminds me of the CDC's eviction moratorium. So this is the thing that they had, this eviction moratorium. Then the administration came out and said they thought that it would be illegal to try to extend it. But then they went ahead and tried to extend the eviction moratorium. And then a couple weeks ago, the Supreme Court blocked that action and said it was unconstitutional, that was overreach by the executive branch. That really smacks of what's going on here, I think. I think this is overreach by the federal government again. And this is something clearly that's been handled by the states forever, okay? This has always been a state thing. I only have a slight pause on this because of the Commerce Clause. OSHA, that gets its power from the Commerce Clause, and the Commerce Clause is this crazy, broad, powerful clause given to the federal government, and they can do almost anything under the Commerce Clause. Like, it's crazy, powerful, and broad. And so, because of that, that's why I have a little bit of reservation that, if they could somehow wiggle that under a Commerce Clause sort of argument and try to make that work, I don't know. I still doubt it. I still think it's unconstitutional, and I don't think the federal government should be able to do that. But I'm just saying I don't know that it's a slam dunk because of that Commerce Clause on the other side of things. Anyway, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Okay.